no comprendo. Where did I work? I worked in, you mean as a military person?
Yes.
Oh, well,
Overseas.
I was stationed in Torrejon Air Base in Madrid, Spain for 5 years. I was lucky enough to live in England as well, RAF Lakenheath in England, outside of Cambridge. I worked in Hancock Field when it was active duty, in Oklahoma and in Texas as well. That's the stretch of my career, durante los 20 años.
Wow.
Me tocó la suerte en Inglaterra, en España y aquí en los Estados Unidos, varios sitios.
How was the representation of Latinos in the military when you started working?
Well, I was very lucky. Me tocó la suerte que en Madrid, en Torrejón de Ardoz, habían bastante latinos que sirvieron de soldados. We were very lucky in that there were a lot of Latinos in Torrejon Air Base because they assumed or they knew that we spoke Spanish, so they sent, if you had a Spanish surname, there was a good chance they were going to send you to that base in Spain, and I was very lucky. I went there for 2 years. Fui solamente 2 años y me quedé 3 más. Me botaron a los 5. They threw me out at 5. It was a wonderful experience for me.
Oh. So what have you done to help the cause to representation of the Latino in the military?
Well, when I was in the military, I was what's known as a Special Emphasis Program Manager for Hispanics. So what I did was I worked with the community, I worked with the commanders from 2 bases to make sure that the Latinos were represented in all things in the community and cultural. So I was also at one time the president of the Hispanic American Community Club, Hispanic American Club in RAF Lakenheath, and we had members from every single Spanish-speaking country, todos los 21 países, and everybody thought that their country was the best. The guy from Paraguay would stand up against the guy from Mexico and say, "My country is the best." And go, yes, I'm sure it is. Estoy seguro que sí. So I enjoyed that. So in the 6 years I was there, 5 years of it was representing the Hispanic community with the base commander.
In your view, how is the representations of Latino now?
Well, I can tell you, I can only speak for the United States Air Force. I cannot speak for other branches of service, but I'm very proud to say that in the United States Air Force, I was given the opportunity to excel. And I did excel to the best of my ability, and nobody kept me from promotions or anything. So I was very proud to have served. So, and I think that goes back many years. And the United States, well, the armed forces were integrated in 1948 by President Harry S. Truman, when he put in the African American troops with the regular armed forces. He combined them in 1948 National Security Act, and so we haven't looked back since. So the armed forces has always been at the forefront of cultural change.
Thank you. What has been the biggest impact you had in the office?
In the office of,
VA.
In the VA, or working at the VA? Well, I have many jobs. One of my jobs is the patient satisfaction manager, servicios al cliente. So what I do is I want to make sure that our veterans and their families are satisfied with the care that we give them. And we are always among the best in the nation. And we're always among the best, we are the best in this area. So if they're not happy, I'm not happy, and I try to work with them on that. Now, I'm also the Minority Veterans Program Coordinator. So if there is a veteran of color that's not happy and they feel that it's because of the color of their skin or their ethnic origin, and it's my job to investigate and find out if there is a reason, if there's cause, and if there's cause, we need to take care of it, and we need to fix it and talk to the person involved. If it's systematic, if it's institutional, we need to make sure that we address it. For example, several years ago, we did not have, I don't have any hair, but we did not provide hair products for people of color, African American veterans. We have a store there, and we have patients all the time. So they asked, why don't you have color or hair products for us? And so we made sure that happened, because that's one of the small things. And we're moving towards ethnic foods and those sorts of things in respect to making sure that people, minorities, are better served in the VA.
When you talk about military and serving them, and when like thinking about the soldiers and diversity, what has been one of the greatest experience to see as you serve, like providing for them, helping them? What is the greatest experience that you have?
Well, one thing I tell you, that our veterans, this is a very, very special fraternity. It's a very, very special sorority to them. They may only have served 2 years. They may have served 30 years. But there is a camaraderie that is unlike anything I have ever seen. So these are like brothers, and they're like sisters. So sometimes, well, most of the times, I would say that it does, color or national origin has nothing to do with it, because the way we've been integrated over the years, it really works very well together. So it's like a brotherhood or a sisterhood, and everybody works very well together. I'm not working. Everybody gets along well as far as patients and staff and patients among themselves.
When I was doing the project of the Balcón Criollo, I was looking for Latino veterans, and I was looking specifically for many Latino veterans, and I found a lot of them, and but they are very scattered through Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that they're not together? Because there are not many services they don't feel that there's many services for them, or because they are not they're not seeking those services that they have, or there's not many groups for them? How the services work for the Latinos, or if that's equal for everybody?
Well, it's equal for everybody, but I will say, for example, in my hometown, Corpus Christi, Texas, where there is one of the VFWs is nothing but Mexican American. I mean, it's the entire organization. If you go to the Dunbar group over here, it's almost exclusively, the American Legion is almost exclusively African American. You don't have that here because quite frankly, we don't have that many Latinos in the Syracuse area. And because you don't have that many Latinos, you're going to have an even smaller proportion of Latino veterans, because it just stands to reason. 8% of the people in this state have served. So if only 8% of the Latino population are veterans, that means you have an even smaller number. So that's part of it, because if you compare us to Utica or to Rochester, we have a very small percentage of Latinos in this area, and you probably know that, because you keep looking for Latinos, and there's some, but there's not like other places like where I come from.
So to help represent and educate, those that are seeking for services, how can we provide that? Well,
we on occasion do go. We have radio stations, and we've worked with Fanny Villarreal, of course, and we try to work with, what's his name, Dr. Rick Wright, if you know Dr. Rick Wright. So he has his own program as well on, I don't think it's WSYR anymore, but it's a program where he's on Sundays, and he will be happy to talk give you the opportunity. So that's one way. And also La Liga, they're always available, and they're very friendly with that. And of course there's CNY Latino, which is an area newspaper that comes out, and it's both in English and in Spanish. So I do like Those are opportunities. Do we take advantage of them as much as I think we should? No. Are we making inroads? I think we are. So, and what's happening is that every year you're getting more and more Latinos, even here in upstate New York. So eventually you're going to have such a large group that you're going to have no, there's no ignoring that you're going to, I'm going to come to a group and they're already going to be existing. I might go to a VFW and they may have a large contingent already of Latinos that are there so that I can talk to them. Right now, if I go to a VFW or American Legion here, it's mostly Anglos, white people. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for all the work that you do at the VA and for representing the Latinos at the VA.
Okay.
And there was something very special that you did for the Balcón Criollo. This year we concentrate on the honor and on the veterans. And you brought something very special. Can you talk a little bit about the little items that you brought to the Balcón Criollo?
Well, I want to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity and for contacting me. And on behalf of the VA Medical Center, thank you very much. I am going to brag on my family members and how much I love them and appreciate them. This is a picture of my father, Jesus Coronado Valle. Jesus Valle, otherwise known as Chuy. I don't know if you know that or not, but if your name is Jesus, automatically is Chuy. So my father, he fought in the Korean War. He is decorated with the Bronze Star medal as well as the Purple Heart. Now, there were several lesser medals, but those are the two big ones. The Purple Heart that he earned from wounds in combat. So I did love my dad. He died way too young, and in my opinion, he died from what's now called PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, which is one of the reasons I love to work in the VA, because if there's anything I can do to help our fellow veterans and overcome issues like the post-traumatic stress, I do help them in any way I possibly can. He was a good man. He fought hard in Korea, and I'm very, very proud of his accomplishments. This is my primo, my cousin, Felix Guadalupe Ortiz, and he is a wonderful guy. He's 10 years older than I, and I really loved, this guy is my hero. He's a Navy, is a very, very young picture of him here. Navy veteran. He fought in Vietnam, and he was one of those swift boat, I guess, seamen. He was on the swift boats, and they would go into the rivers and the bayous in Vietnam to protect and defend the waterways. So he was constantly under barrage, and this was one of the, in his little area there, this is one of the things we put it in little plastic later, but this Virgen de Guadalupe protected him from being killed when he was in the swift boat. So he's still intact. He is 68 years old and going strong, retired as a professional. He came back and he got his, through the GI Bill, he got a bachelor's degree, and he went on to a big leadership position in business. So I'm very, very proud of my cousin. And we used to follow his exploits for years, and he is one of the most amazing men I've ever known. And of course, I want to brag on my young son. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my daughter's picture here, Elena, but this is Carlos Miguel, and he's a U.S. Air Force veteran. He did his 4 years, and I'm very proud of him. He served his country overseas in support of Libya. So very proud of my family in that.